is proudly sponsored by the Kenya Bankers Association.
Ladies and gentlemen, for this junior knockout round, the motion reads, lack of access to quality education and financial literacy is a primary driver of intergenerational poverty. I repeat, lack of access to quality education and financial literacy is a primary driver of intergenerational poverty. Proposing and opposing this motion are Friends School Tigoi girls and Kapsabet boys. All the best to both teams. We're hoping for a very riveting discussion. First speaker, proposition team, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am often sought but rarely taken, given but not forsaken. The answer to this riddle is advice. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will give out the motion. Lack of access to quality education and financial literacy is the primary driver of intergenerational poverty. But before I get to my valid points, ladies and gentlemen, allow me get to the specim of the exposition of this motion. Now, what is quality education? According to the Oxford Languages, this is the process of acquiring knowledge and skills that is of high standards. What is financial literacy? According to the googleprimera.com, this refers to the basic understanding and skills needed to manage personal finances effectively. What is intergenerational poverty, you may ask? According to investopedia.com, this is a situation whereby poverty is passed from one generation to another. And lastly, what is primary driver? Primary driver simply means the main. Now, as the affirmatives of this motion, we do believe that without quality and education and financial literacy will lead to intergenerational poverty. And with that, allow me get to my points. To my first point, financial literacy leads to effective money management. Exactly how, ladies and gentlemen? Financial literacy provides young people with knowledge and skills. For example, entrepreneurship skills and saving skills that they need for them to manage their personal finances. They also inform them of the financial decisions and avoid them from getting into debts. Now, according to the National Endowment of Individuals for Financial Education, found that individuals who receive financial education are 60% more likely to have a budget and 55% more likely to have savings compared to those who don't have. Secondly, I will look at the long-term benefits. Allow me use SDG number 4, quality education. Ladies and gentlemen, quality education provides the young people with the foundation of knowledge and skills that they can build upon their lives. And this will lead to economic mobility. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as they navigate through their financial journey, they will be better equipped on smart financial decisions and achieve a long-term financial security. According to the Pew Charitable Trust in the United States of America, founded that individuals who have quality education earn an average of 50% compared to those who don't have, and therefore breaking the cycle of poverty. And with this, you get to see how quality education and financial literacy is important. And without it, then believe me, we are going to have poverty from generation to generation. A toast to the proposers. Thank you.
Let me unveil the curtains of illusion surrounding this motion and prove to you that it is nothing but a fallacy. And the motion states that lack of quality education and financial literacy is the primary driver of intergenerational poverty. Let's get to the definition of terms. Quality education is an education system that equips students with knowledge, skills, and competencies required for personal management and societal contribution. What is financial literacy? Financial literacy is the knowledge and skills required to make informed and sound decisions regarding personal financial management. And lastly, intergenerational poverty is a concept that encompasses how poverty is passed on from generation to generation from generation to generation, creating a cycle that is difficult to break. Now, trying to establish financial stability without addressing systemic and structural barriers is like handing down a broken time machine from one generation to another. Why do I say this? This is because it will send this generation back to the same old poverty, or in other words, we could say it will send them back to a more dilapidated reflection. It could send them back to a more dilapidated reflection of the retrospect. Why do I say this? Economic instability refers to a condition whereby an economy experiences fluctuations and unpredictability, eventually leading to economic collapse. Economic collapse will drive the populace into an abyss of poverty that no amount of financial and educational acumen could help you recover from it. Let's look at a case study conducted on Venezuela by the IMF, that is the International Monetary Fund, which reports that in 2024, approximately 90% of Venezuelans are living under the international poverty line. Why? Because of economic instability. What is its intergenerational effect? In 2013, before Venezuela's economy collapsed, only 20% of Venezuelans were under the international poverty line. What went wrong? Let us look at the trend. In 2015, only 2 years after, due to economic instability caused by hyperinflation and global market dynamics, 20% bounced to 60%. That is reported by the IMF once more. Economic instability undermines SDG number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. It lowers the values of wages and investment savings tailored at combating this intergenerational poverty. It is the real enemy. Thank you.
Second speaker, team proposition, you have 3 minutes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, before you is Auma Hiljada from the France School Tigoi Girls, ready to propose the motion, lack of access to quality education. I repeat, Your Honors, quality education, not just any education, but quality education and financial literacy is the primary driver of intergenerational poverty. Now, consider this debate like a sculpture made of marble. Each point we make is a chisel strike, carving out the essence of our position from a raw and formed idea. Now, before I give you my points, ladies and gentlemen, allow me ask what the opposers on the other side are trying to say. Now, the first speaker from Kapsabet Boys came here, stood courageously. You can see from the looks, it's quite handsome, but then from the things he's saying, like, really? You wouldn't dare go for that boy. Now, he talked about financial collapse. Now, let me tell you something. Why do we have financial collapse? This is because we do not have financial literacy. We are financially illiterate, and that is why we are having this financial collapse. And then you were here talking about Venezuela and all that. They are below the poverty line. Now, did you know something about Venezuela? Now, 68% of their population lacked quality education. They lack the financial literacy education. This is by the information given by the World Bank in the year 2020 on the 4th of May. Now you can see, ladies and gentlemen, they are here just to tell us propaganda and rumors, but we are here at the affirmatives of this motion to tell you nothing but the truth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that education is the key to success, but quality education is the key pathway out of poverty. Now, allow me go to my first point. Now, in our country, Kenya, we have education. Yes, I do agree. But is it really quality? No. The education that we are having in Kenya, it is not skill-oriented. It just focuses on A grades, Bs, and all that. Now, if we are as students, we finish high school with that A grade. Will we be able to translate this and convert these A's into work? Will we be able to convert these A planes and B pluses that we are having to start and manage our own businesses? No. We need an education system that is skill-oriented, that will give us the skills to start and even manage our own businesses. We need to be financially stable now. With this curriculum of ours, we are not even getting some skills from it. It is just doing exams and exams and exams and all that. Now, I say that we should embrace the competency-based curriculum. It is skill-oriented. Once you know you have a talent in something, they are there to mentor you, and you will be there to follow your dream. Now, 38% of our Kenyans right now are financially illiterate. That means the majority people in our country are financially illiterate. And what does this mean? They lack financial education. They lack the quality education that we need. So you can see as a parent, you'll not be able to manage your cash flow. You'll go bankrupt. And what will happen to a generation, to your children's children? They'll be poorer and poorer day in and day out. So that you can see we will be inheriting poverty. Not because we want, but because we lack the quality education that we wanted, because we lack the financial literacy that we all wanted. So I say let's make quality education and support the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is quality education. I'll not raise my case, ladies and gentlemen, until you join us. Thank you.
First of all, Kapsabet Boys does not invest in the art of propaganda. We do not spread rumors. Did you check on the hyperinflation rate of Venezuela in the year 2018? They were experiencing a hyperinflation rate of about 63,000. You want to tell me a country like that can be able to get itself out of the poverty it is facing? It cannot. Why? No amount of financial literacy or education can remove it from that. Now, let me begin with my point. Imagine you and I are traveling on a road that leads to economic stability and financial stability. Except there is one problem. The road that you and I are traveling on has one problem. It has many problems. It has potholes. One of the potholes it has is one: economic inequality and systemic barriers. How? Allow me elucidate. Now, there is an equal distribution of income and opportunity between different groups in society. Imagine, right now, the United Nations database states that the United Nations is aimed at achieving SDG number 10. What is SDG number 10? We want to reduce inequality within countries. But how can we achieve that, and yet people like our proposers are insisting that it is only through financial security and quality education, lacking them, that can lead to having intergenerational poverty. Now, let us go to change. Assuming that I today wake up and say, I want to go to school. I want to go and study. But what if I go there, spend 12 years studying, but then there's one problem. There are no job opportunities for me. What will I do? What will I do? We must attack this point from the root source. And I insist that the root source is economic inequality and systemic barriers. Because there's no way I will study for 12 years just to be told that I cannot access a job. Let us continue. The Organization for Economic and Cooperative Development stated that income inequality rising globally within the top 10% of those who are financially secure was increasing, while those who are the bottom 50% was decreasing or staying stagnant. I believe most of you know of a country known as Black Rock. Imagine a country like that controls a sixth of the global cash flow. If a company like that was to say that today we are stopping complete spending, the entire global economy would crumble, because one company has decided that we are not going to spend, and the entire global economy crashes. All those who are employed will lose employment just because of one company. We must attack it at the root source. Another thing, we have systemic barriers. And I will insist on systemic barriers. We have two things here: discrimination and historical injustices. Although many may say that historical injustices are part of the past, I believe we are meant to learn from the past. I remember when Martin Luther King stood there and said, I have a dream. We saw that after that, much change was taken, but to date we still see discrimination in America. My friend Steve leaves Kenya and says, I have a dream to go and achieve the American dream. He reaches there and he realizes the facts. The facts are that right now, black families have a median amount of about $24,000 and white families about $188,000. I mean, is that clear logistics? That is according to the Organization for Economic and Cooperative Development. And with that, I rest my case. Thank you.
Jaba kajaba kajaba. Jabber is a word used to mean lies, rumors, propaganda, and innuendo. And that is what they have been trying to do this day. Now, not to worry, us, the proposers, we will gladly educate you and help you pave pathways to prosperity. And that will only be accomplished if you accept the fact that lack of access to quality education and financial literacy is indeed the primary driver of intergenerational poverty. Now, a scientist once said that one can be man enough, but not an extraordinary man. So boys, 3 words: stop forcing issues. Allow me do my job of cross-examining their words. Now, I'd like to start with the first speaker. You said economic instability undermines decent work. Well, that brings about nothing else but lack of access to quality education and financial literacy. And according to Global Financial Literacy Survey on the 22nd March of 2023, it states that with a population of approximately 50 million people in Kenya, only 38% of Kenyans are financial literate. So what does that mean? We are lacking access to quality education and financial literacy. Second speaker, you speak of economic inequality and unequal distribution of income among people. Well, I still think that we can still link this to lack of access to quality education and financial literacy. You even say that there are people who lack job opportunities, and this is only because they lack financial literacy. We cannot give you a job opportunity if you're financially illiterate. That is not reality, ladies and gentlemen. It is not reality. So now, I know most of you are asking yourself, what is this financial literacy that they are talking about? Now, let me educate you. Take a look at investing. Knowledge of investing enables an individual to grow their wealth over time, prepare for retirement, and even build a secure financial future. So I now know that you are aware of what financial literacy means. Now, as the proposers, we are here struggling and trying to make you understand that lack of access to financial literacy and quality education is indeed the primary driver to intergenerational poverty. But we haven't given you a solution to how we can curb this lack of access to quality education and financial literacy, ladies and gentlemen. But not to worry, I am here to do my job. And a solution will be, we can embrace the competence-based curriculum, CBC, which is skill-oriented. If we do that, we will be access to quality education and financial literacy. SDG number 1, no poverty. That is what we stand for as the proposers. And SDG number 4, quality education. Be aware of what you're talking about, and you shall have a financial future. Thank you for your time.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes.
I know you've all heard of this. Wow, wow, wow. But then let me take a different course. Now is when I try to expound on the motion and try to oppose. But even when I try to oppose, I realize that my proposers don't know their job. I'm not attacking you, I'm attacking the motion. Please don't attack the opposer, attack the motion. Now, if intergenerational poverty solely on education and financial literacy was to be the thing, why delve solely on it if there are other factors which affect it? Other factors like health and environmental factors or disparities. Health issues and environmental factors are the unseen currents dragging people down regardless of their education or financial survey. Please, English is a nice language, yeah, but don't manipulate it. The WHO reports that low-income families 2.5 times. That's the time which they face higher rates of chronic illnesses compared to high-income families. Now, it's trying to keep float of a raft which is sinking. But now, every time that I try to use gum, since that's the only resource that I have, it still cannot block it. Why? I did not choose the right path, whereby I chose the wrong raft. Why couldn't I just stay there and wait for the time to come right? Why? Because of intergenerational poverty. If your family is experiencing a chronic illness, let it be hereditary. It will affect your pocket one way or the other. Don't you believe me? Don't you trust me? Medical bills are not cheap, brothers. Oh, sisters, medical bills are not cheap. That's why if a low-income family experiences 2.5 times more susceptibility. Oh, English is hard, my goodness. How can I say this? If a low-income family cannot afford this, I want you to understand the fact about economic growth and economic development. Two different things. If the size of pocket increases but the volume remains the same, this is the same thing that I'm trying to bring to you. If the international poverty line is not moving, but the economy is growing, more people will be susceptible to it and will grow and low below it. Do you believe that 90% of people earn less than $1 per day in our one country? Is that really logic yet we're still breathing here? Why are we continuing with this debate circle here? There are people suffering out there. If you're trying to close your mind into two factors, are they the main sole factors? No, they are not. There are other factors which impede them. Should I continue or should I stop? Don't be closed-minded. Open your eyes, please. Social and political instability. If I was to produce an analogy, I would not even need to. Why? Syria, 90% of it is below the poverty line. Why? Because of political instability. Even if you had access to quality education, where would you go? Would you go below basements of bankers? Where would you go? Please, Abraham Mutai from the Kapsabet High School, here to bring this, what? The future.
Proposing team, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
Now, Your Honors, allow me board you into this flight of mine that will take approximately just 1 minute and allow me to be your pilot. Now, the boys here are talking about economic and whatsoever. We are saying that lack of access to quality education and financial literacy is the main. We agree there are other factors like education, just like you said, but the main thing is lack of access to quality education and financial literacy. Now, on the other side, you say that English is a problem, but no. Actually, you are the problem. You're misleading my people here. You're misleading these beautiful and handsome people seated here. You're misleading them, you yourself, not the English that is the problem. And lastly, you never even gave us any solutions, my audience. They never gave us any solutions. So how are we to be sure that they are telling us the truth? But while we say that let us embrace the competency-based curriculum so that we can have quality education, let us mandate financial literacy so that we can be financially literate, be managed to manage our cash flows, and also invest for our futures. Now, as I land this plane, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.
Opposing team, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
For our final submission, we would like to just rebuttal a point that our second speaker said. Our second speaker said that she does not believe that she believes that financial literacy, access to financial literacy and quality education is the primary driver to intergenerational poverty. Tell me, in the year 2019, when COVID-19 struck, there was a significant impact in the global economy. Believe me, 8.8% of the global working hours were reduced. Do you know what this caused? 255 million people lost their jobs. These 255 million people had access to quality education and they were financially literate, and yet they still lost their jobs because the country could not handle an economic shock. Please explain to us how, why? Because they are primary drivers. It cannot be simply lacking access to quality education and financial literacy. In that year, 255 million people who are financially literate, who went to school, still lost their jobs. Please, be clear on your facts. Thank you.
A better applause for our debaters.
So congratulations to the two teams. Good job in trying to do justice to the topic. I'll start with Friends School Tigoi, Kate Modoni. Good context setting when you started the conversation. Good use of statistics. And you also laid a good basis for your colleagues to pick it up. That name is hard. Yeah, so nice rebuttal, and it was quite brutal, right? Which is okay, to also try and push your opponent back, but also good that you brought out the idea about it's not about education, it's about skills. So, and I believe CBC is trying to do that to address the gap that has been there, impacting more skills as opposed to looking at your performance based on just grids. Turafin Miteva, good job in cross-examining the speakers on information relied, which is what you require to do, so that if someone is lying, we can actually point it out, right? Nice use of context in terms of reference material, SDG 1 and 4, and also very solid proposals. At least you guys didn't do a lot of reading. You actually did a lot of speaking, including the team from Kapsabet Boys. So Kapsabet Boys, Nigel, great context setting as well, and definition of terms to lay basis to the debate. John Gare, good context setting as well, drove the points home, and also use of statistics, very important. And Abraham Mutai, you actually operated like a pastor, as I said earlier, and you sort of painted the color and also let the message sink in, and then of course came out to just provide more context in terms of why you think what you are supporting makes sense than what your opponents are. Thanks.
I thought from Tigoi, I would have gotten examples of guys whose intergenerational financial wellness is super good because probably they had quality education, all right? So what I'm trying to say is examples. And are they there? Yes, I think they're there. We have people who managed to get education very early in this country, and because of that, they sort of were able to create wealth for their generations, right? And some of them are still enjoying that. Why are you refusing to give us those examples? Remember, debate is all about examples. Evidence is a starting point of an argument, all right? Well done, though. I appreciate the girls. I mean, you're well-spoken. You're good debaters. So I want to encourage you on that. Only one statement, Jada. You said something like 35% of Kenyans are financially illiterate. It's a fact. Where is the source? Okay? Somebody may say you're cooking these things. Remember, evidence is always a starting point of a debate. If you forget anything else, remember that, okay? That you must always give us the evidence. Rafin, well done. To the gentleman, Kapsabet, I think I love how you articulated your facts. The only comment to the first speaker, just check on coherency. We could tell at some point there was a bit of a struggle. John, good speaker, good submissions, well done and well researched as well. You took me to a good school. Abraham, good reasoning. I think I love the fact that you were reasoning with us to think through your points. Poverty, diseases, political instability, and the more. Well done, and I wish you well.
Just a quick one for both teams. The motion reads, lack of access to quality education and financial literacy is the primary driver of intergenerational poverty. That is exactly what I required Tigoi to run with. That these Kapsabet guys will speak of low investments, financial collapse, unequal distribution, but what is the primary driver is lack of access to quality education and financial literacy. So that basically calls you to run a comparative analysis. Show us to what extent what they are providing is not as detrimental as what you're providing. Kapsabet High School, these guys are running with the argument that, CBC is working in this country, so let's work with that. I expected you to question the practicability of CBC, to look at countries that have implemented CBC and compare it with what you're doing and see if CBC is actually the right thing to do. That is exactly what you do in a motion that requires you to run a comparative analysis. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
A round of applause for the debaters on stage. Based on their submissions, the judges have awarded the following scores. For our proposers, Friends School Tigoi, 64%. A round of applause. And for our opposers, Kapsabet High School, 69%. A round of applause. Crowning Kapsabet High School the winners of this debate. Do find more of these riveting discussions by following our social media from Instagram to YouTube to LinkedIn, all at The Debate Circle. I have been your host, Lucia Shamala, and until next time, goodbye.